Chapter 459. With the marks he left on the Six Paths world and the other items, Zhou Jie searched in the space mezzanine for nearly 7 years before he finally found everything. There were only 4 items in total: the Inheritance Ring, the Six Paths world, the Heavenly Plan Sword, and the Chaotic Demon Sealing Lock. The rest of the treasures were either abandoned or destroyed by Zhou Jie. When Zhou Jie finally found the Six Paths world, he discovered an extremely strange wave that appeared in the Six Paths world. It seemed to be guiding him to a certain place. After Zhou Jie left the space mezzanine, he used the Heavenly Plan Sword to deduce the law of cause and effect. Finally, he found the source of the wave and headed there. In the dimensional universe, Zhou Jie's strength stood at the peak level. His speed was also at the same level. With just a thought, he could cross the galaxy. With such speed, Zhou Jie only spent a dozen seconds to arrive at the shattered void where the Zhou clan's Sacred Grounds ruins were. The Zhou clan's Sacred Grounds ruins contained a great power that caused the space around it to shatter into spatial faults. Many imperial emperors found it difficult to cross. At the very least, they needed the strength of a late-stage imperial emperor to safely enter the continent where the Zhou clan's Sacred Grounds ruins were located. In the past few hundred years, not to mention the fourth-dimensional universe, most of the experts in the other dimensions and even the central universe knew about the appearance of the Zhou clan's Sacred Grounds ruins. Therefore, countless experts swarmed over. However, at least 30% of the cultivators could only return in disappointment. This was because they were not strong enough to reach the surface of the Zhou clan's Sacred Grounds ruins. Some even died in it. However, the remaining 70% of the cultivators were mostly late-stage imperial emperors. There were more than 2,000 of them. All of them entered the Sacred Grounds ruins, trying to obtain the opportunities, treasures, and even inheritances of the sacred ground. When Zhou Jie appeared less than 10,000 miles away from the Zhou clan's Sacred Grounds continent, his expression was filled with shock. At that moment, he was even stunned. "This is?" Zhou Jie sucked in a breath of cold air as he stared fixedly at the incomparably huge starry sky continent in front of him. In his mind, he had already thought of an answer that he found hard to accept. Why would the Zhou clan's Holy Land relic appear here? After a while, Zhou Jie could not help but wonder. Then, his eyes flashed and he had a vague guess. Although it was not completely accurate, Zhou Jie believed that it had something to do with the Water Mirror Transcendent and the Transcendent who had trapped him in the illusion of the virtual world. What's going on behind the scenes? Everything seems to revolve around me. I'm not dead. The person behind all of this must know. Zhou Jie thought silently in his heart. Suddenly, he felt a deep sense of powerlessness. It was as if his fate was being controlled by someone else, and he had no way to resist. Perhaps the answer can be found in the ruins of the Holy Land, Zhou Jie said to himself as he closed his eyes. After a short while, Zhou Jie's figure vanished, and when he appeared once more, he'd already descended to the border of the Hallowed Grounds continent. Because the space around the Hallowed Grounds ruins was completely shattered, no light from the outside world could enter. There was also no light source in the Hallowed Grounds ruins, so everywhere was pitch black. The strength of one's senses also determined the size of one's vision. After arriving on the Hallowed Grounds continent, Zhou Jie felt that the Six Paths world's ripple between his eyebrows was getting stronger, guiding him to a certain place deep within the continent. Zhou Jie did not think too much about it. He ran at full speed, almost ignoring the pressure of the Hallowed Grounds ruins. In less than a breath's time, he arrived at a huge square. This was a circular square with a diameter of over 1,000,000 kilometers. The edge of the square was mostly occupied by countless huge statues. These statues included weapons such as sabers and swords, as well as humans and other races. With his senses, Zhou Jie even found some familiar figures: ancient gods, celestial giants, and Ao Shi, just like Safili. In the middle of the square there was a 10,000 feet tall statue. It was a handsome and elegant man. He wore a simple sackcloth, barefooted, and his long hair fluttered behind his head. His hands were clasped behind his back as he looked at the sky. His eyes were bright like torches, and his expression was solemn. With Zhou Jie's cultivation level, he immediately realized that the statue was actually a teleportation seal. Through it, he could enter a certain place. This man, could he be the Zhou clan's saint ancestor? Zhou Jie guessed in his heart. Then, he stopped thinking about it and took a step forward, disappearing without a trace. Not long after Zhou Jie's disappearance, 4 figures appeared above the statue. One of them was the World Emperor. The other 3 with the World Emperor were also Tao Creation Universe Emperors. Each and every one of them was once famous. Among them, there was even a man in a purple robe. He was the fake level Qi practitioner that stood side by side with the ancient Saint Emperor. This group of 4 people was also headed by the man in a purple robe. After appearing, the man in a purple robe took out a jade seal treasure. At the same time, he said in a deep voice, "Let's begin." The other 3 universe emperors, including the World Emperor, immediately responded. They spread out with serious expressions. Together with the man in a purple robe, they each took out a dark green token. After crushing it, they madly made hand seals. Obviously, they were going to jointly display some kind of powerful secret technique. The man in a purple robe urged the jade seal treasure and also made hand seals to cast the technique. The 4 Tao Creation Realm Qi practitioners had been preparing for nearly 3 minutes. Only then did they complete the preparation of the secret technique. Finally, the man in a purple robe gathered the strength of the other 3 people and injected an unimaginable huge energy into the jade seal. The jade seal trembled and transformed into a strange beast that was millions of feet long. It opened its mouth and swallowed the statue below. The statue disappeared strangely, and when the strange beast swallowed, the man in a purple robe and the other 3 people had already retreated millions of miles away. This was why they were not affected by the swallowing power. After doing all this, the man in a purple robe came to the front of the World Emperor and threw a ball of light to him. A beautiful woman was sleeping in it. If Zhou Jie saw it here, he would definitely be shocked. This woman was none other than Suyu, who had the most interaction with him besides Ling Shui. "This is what I promised you. Enjoy it well. I hope you can reach the pseudo-realm soon," the man in a purple robe said in a deep voice after throwing the ball of light. When the World Emperor saw the woman in the ball of light, his eyes revealed a trace of passion. However, he quickly concealed it. He nodded slightly to the man in a purple robe and cupped his fist. "Thank you, Master Long. I also wish Master to reach the transcendent realm soon." "Well, the mission has been completed. We will take our leave first," the man in a purple robe said calmly. Without waiting for the World Emperor to make a statement, he turned and disappeared. When the other 2 Tao Creation Realm Emperors saw this, they also left. They didn't even say anything to the World Emperor. Obviously, they didn't have any friendship. They just followed the man in a purple robe to complete the mission. After the man in a purple robe and the others left, the World Emperor raised his head and looked at Suyu. The desire in his eyes was no longer concealed. "I only need to make a breakthrough in the Tao of Soul to reach the pseudo-realm and even reach the transcendent realm. The law blood of this goddess race's goddess contains the transcendent law of the soul illusion. It is a great help. I only need to cultivate it well for a while. Moreover, this woman has a close relationship with this Zhou Jie. Her first blood was obtained by him. Unfortunately, this Zhou Jie actually provoked the Li family's sacred ground. Now, he is sealed in this ruin and can no longer come out. Zhou Jie is also the disciple of the Ancient One. I hate the Ancient One. Being able to play with this kind of junior's woman is also a happy thing." For a moment, the World Emperor thought so in his heart. He couldn't help but feel happy. After putting away the ball of light that sealed Suyuyu, he couldn't help but laugh. Ha 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 ha, Ancient One, wait until I become a transcendent. I will trample you under my feet. The statue in the center of the sacred ground ruins was swallowed and sealed. This shocked almost all the experts in the ruins and attracted most of them to come and watch. But even the Universe Emperor Realm experts didn't gain anything after coming to the center of the sacred ground ruins. Previously, they knew that there was a statue here, but they couldn't enter it. Now that the statue was gone, this place was even more worthless for them to explore. On the other side, Zhou Jie didn't know that after entering the statue, he was sealed and couldn't leave. He appeared in a white world. Under his feet was a gray disk that was 1,000 meters in diameter. What is this place? Zhou Jie was secretly puzzled. At the same time, he used his perception to size up his surroundings. However, he found that once his perception touched the white fog outside the disk, he immediately felt nothing. Chapter 460. Could it be? Zhou Jie suddenly thought of a possibility, one that Zhou Longwei had mentioned unintentionally. There were many alternate dimensions in the Zhou clan's sacred ground. For example, the Six Paths world was a medium that led to the Six Paths world. The place that Zhou Jie had arrived at with his inheritance ring was an alternate dimension created for the Zhou clan's saint child. Due to the uniqueness of the inheritance, the alternate dimension had long since self-destructed. The most mysterious alternate dimension in the Zhou clan's sacred ground was the one that was used to select the clan leader, the Origin World. Could this be the Origin Realm? Zhou Jie thought to himself as he flew over to the edge of the platform and looked out. In the white mist outside the platform, a few milky white chains could be vaguely seen. They extended from the edge of the platform and disappeared into the white mist. Just as Zhou Jie was hesitating, a loud boom sounded in his mind. Then, an extremely distant voice sounded in his mind. Child, come, come, come. I will be waiting for you in the center. This is your destiny, or perhaps your destiny. Upon hearing this voice, Zhou Jie couldn't help but be shocked. He was sure that he had never heard this voice before, but he felt a sense of familiarity and familiarity. Is this the Zhou clan's divine ancestor? Zhou Jie immediately thought. This was only a fleeting thought that flashed through Zhou Jie's mind, but he immediately received an answer. That gentle male voice rang out again. It's me, child. Hurry up and come to me. This is the origin-seeking realm. Walk to me, and you'll be able to comprehend my saint technique, origin-seeking. The first of the 7 saint techniques, the origin world. Zhou Jie murmured unconsciously. A longing that he hadn't felt for a long time rose in his heart. As if he had found a riddle, he immediately stepped to the edge of the platform and lifted his foot to step into the void outside the platform. But just as Zhou Jie was about to step into the void, the Zhou clan's divine ancestor's voice sounded in Zhou Jie's mind like thunder. Grasp your heart and see your nature. Don't let the universe's consciousness drown out your own consciousness. As soon as the voice sounded, Zhou Jie's foot stopped. A hint of struggle appeared in his eyes, but soon they shone brightly. What a terrifying origin consciousness! Zhou Jie was scared after he woke up. He realized that when he was listening to the words of the divine ancestor of the Zhou family, his consciousness had been quietly invaded and he had fallen into a very strange state of confusion. He was controlled by his instinctive desire and almost fell off the platform. If one stepped onto a platform in the origin-seeking realm, they would lose themselves and sink into eternal pain until the origin-seeking realm automatically expelled them. In the end, the nightmare of failure would hinder the loser's origin-seeking realm, making it impossible for them to transcend mortality and become a saint. Thus, it was said that the origin world was a great opportunity, but it was also a great risk. If one succeeded, then Emperor you would be able to transcend mortality and attain sainthood, but if one failed, then one would be left with nightmares that would obstruct the advancement of one's cultivation. Child, guard your mind. Try to comprehend the chains with all your heart. I'll be waiting for you at the center. The voice of the Zhou's sacred ancestor sounded again. Zhou Jie thanked the sacred ancestor in his heart before following the instructions of the Zhou family's sacred ancestor. After focusing his mind, he chose a white chain that extended outward from the platform and stepped onto it. After stepping onto the chain, Zhou Jie's mind shuddered. At the same time, he was shocked to discover that his senses were being stretched out uncontrollably. Furthermore, everything that he sensed gave him an unprecedented shock. Origin-seeking realm, origin-seeking realm. So that's how it is. The consciousness of the origin of the universe is the origin of all laws. If I want to be on par with it, then I have to ask it. Once I understand everything that the origin of the universe is thinking, then I can become an existence on par with the origin of the universe. Or, I can control it. After Zhou Jie stepped onto the chain, he could clearly sense all kinds of laws. Almost all of these laws were laws that he had comprehended before. It was just that now, in a strange form, they allowed him to comprehend them again. In addition, this kind of comprehension of the origin world was a kind of integration. Even though Zhou Jie had comprehended the laws of the Tao creation realm, because of the short amount of time, he was unable to truly master them. It was like studying mathematics. Even if he knew the formulas and algorithms, solving problems would be easy. However, he was unable to analyze the essence of the formulas and algorithms, and he was unable to truly innovate everything. Thus, he stopped in front of the origin. Zhou Jie's first step paused for more than 10 minutes before he took the second step. The third step, as Zhou Jie continued to move forward, everything he perceived also changed. It was as if there were countless teachers, each dedicated to explaining a problem. Zhou Jie would welcome thousands of such teachers to analyze thousands of problems for him every step he took. However, Zhou Jie had already understood most of these problems, so he could quickly comprehend them. His footsteps did not stop as he walked forward. However, as Zhou Jie took more and more steps, the further he was from the initial platform, his footsteps became slower and slower. In the beginning, he took more than 10 minutes to adapt and comprehend. After a few minutes, he took more than 10 steps. Gradually, it became 10 minutes before he could take a step, and the time for each step was still increasing. Morwen Star Region, Ancient Mystic World. The ancient mystic world was created by the World Emperor. Like the sealed realm, it had naturally evolved life forms. After countless years of evolution, it had also given birth to a large number of cultivators. When these cultivators were strong to a certain extent, they would suffer the world's heavenly tribulation. Those who passed the heavenly tribulation could ascend and come to the island group where the World Emperor was. Heaven Realm. Every life form in the ancient mystic world who arrived at Heaven Realm would receive the reward of the World Emperor and become stronger. Therefore, Heaven Realm was the holy land in the hearts of countless life forms in the ancient mystic world. Every cultivator who knew of the existence of Heaven Realm had ascension as their ultimate goal. In fact, after the life forms in the ancient mystic world ascended, they were equivalent to the Emperor Realm powerhouses in the outside world. However, once they left the ancient mystic world, they would lose the support of the world's power. The cultivation of these ascenders would fall severely. Only those who went further could maintain the strength of an early-stage Emperor Realm. In Heaven Realm, hundreds of ascenders had appeared over the years, but only about half of them could maintain the strength of an early-stage Emperor Realm after leaving the ancient mystic world. However, none of them had ever left the ancient mystic world. They didn't even know that there was a wider universe outside the ancient mystic world. In their eyes, the ancient mystic world was everything, and the mysterious World Emperor, the Master of Heaven Realm, was a supreme existence that could not be disobeyed. At this moment, in the palace hall of an island group in the deepest part of Heaven Realm, the World Emperor was looking at the light ball where Su Yu was, and the corner of his mouth revealed a satisfied smile. With this array and the soul force extracted from the sealed realm to nourish this woman, her law blood will be reborn within 100 years. At that time, it will be my opportunity to break through. The World Emperor said to himself proudly and couldn't help but nod. Dao Yi. Then, the World Emperor suddenly turned around and everything behind him blurred. Disciple is here. Almost as soon as the World Emperor finished speaking, a middle-aged man in a black robe appeared in front of him, knelt down on one knee, and said respectfully. This black-robed man called Dao Yi was the only remaining direct disciple of the World Emperor. He was known as the Heavenly Emperor Dao Yi. His strength was not inferior to the World Emperor after fusing with his avatar. He had the strength of a pseudo-universe Emperor realm. Arrange it. 100 years later, I will have an imperial concubine. Invite all the cultivators above the Emperor realm in the core of the second dimension universe to come to a banquet to celebrate this matter. The World Emperor said in a deep voice. At the same time, an imperceptible cold light flashed in the depths of his eyes. Although Dao Yi was extremely surprised when he heard this, the World Emperor's expression was very clear. He didn't dare to ask anything, so he immediately replied, "Yes, Master. This disciple will do it now." After Dao Yi left, the World Emperor could no longer hide the excitement in his heart. He couldn't help but open his mouth and laugh. Of course, he didn't have any good intentions when he invited the Emperor Realm cultivators of the 62 star regions to a banquet. After all, Su Yu was just a cultivation cauldron for him to break through. Even if he made her his concubine, there was no need for him to host such a grand banquet. In the end, the World Emperor only wanted to devour the Emperor Realm cultivators when his breakthrough failed. He wanted to further ensure that he reached the breakthrough point, so that he could go to the central universe to complete the final step, which was to become an extraordinary expert. Time passed silently. On this day, 99 years had passed since Zhou Jie entered the origin world. On this day, he finished walking the chain and stepped onto the central platform. Chapter 461. The central platform wasn't big, only about 300 meters in radius. An illusory white figure was sitting cross-legged at the center, waiting for Zhou Jie for a long time. This white silhouette was a middle-aged man with silver hair that reached his shoulders. He had a scholarly appearance, but under his calm eyes, there was a kind of indifference that belonged to the world. Zhou Jie was stunned at first, but then he cupped his hands and said respectfully, "Junior Zhou Jie greets the Divine Ancestor." The white figure was indeed the Divine Ancestor of the Zhou clan. Seeing Zhou Jie's salute, he smiled and said gently, "Come here, child. Sit down across from me. I have something to tell you." Zhou Jie sat down cross-legged in front of the Zhou clan's Divine Ancestor. He opened his mouth, and was about to say something when the Zhou clan's Divine Ancestor said, "Child, I didn't expect you to reach here so quickly. You are indeed very good. Now I think you understand what the origin of the universe is and how to transcend mortality and enter sainthood." Zhou Jie couldn't help but nod. While looking solemn, he also showed a hint of admiration for the Divine Ancestor of the Zhou clan. It was very difficult to become transcendent. Not to mention that the probability was so small that it was almost incalculable, even if the number of Universe Emperor Realm cultivators was taken as the base. The probability was shockingly small. The ancient Divine Emperor had been a pseudo-realm expert for tens of thousands of years, but he still hadn't become transcendent. Part of the reason was that he didn't go to the central universe to make the breakthrough because he was afraid of being exposed, and part of the reason was that he wasn't 100% sure. Most of the experts who became transcendent didn't know how they did it. Since ancient times, there had been people who became transcendent before reaching transcendent, and there were also people who were stronger than the ancient divine emperor but still couldn't become transcendent. It seemed that every transcendent who became transcendent thought that they became transcendent after comprehending all the laws in the world and fusing with the origin. Very few people realized that the most important part was the fusion of the origin of the universe with the mind. Almost all of the people who can't become extraordinarily is the lack of the idea to integrate the original law. After all, to be able to cultivate to Tao creation realm, the law is certain to be all perfect. On the other hand, the inquiring origins created by the Zhou clan's sacred ancestor allowed people to experience the domination of the laws by their consciousness, as well as the movement of the universe's origin laws under the universe's origin consciousness, thereby revealing the secret of ascending into extraordinary. The fusion of the consciousness with the origin laws was the foundation of becoming extraordinary, and the process of inquiring origins would allow people to sharpen their consciousness and understand everything about the fusion of the consciousness with the origin laws. All that was left was to put it into practice. Therefore, once one finished cultivating the inquiring origin technique, one's chances of transcending mortality and entering sainthood would be greatly increased. It could even go from 1 in 10 million to 50%. Once the origin-seeking technique was completed, he could attempt to step into transcendence. If he succeeded, he would succeed. If he failed, he would face the risk of losing his life in the process of breaking through. If he could survive, he could attempt to break through again. Now that Zhou Jie had finished cultivating the inquiring origin technique, he was confident he could break through to transcendence. Similarly, according to his understanding, entering the saint realm was also a fusion of the universe's origin laws, but to a higher degree. After perfectly integrating the universe's origin laws, one could enter the saint realm. There are some things I need to tell you. You need to be mentally prepared. The Zhou clan's sacred ancestor changed the topic, his eyes meeting Zhou Jie's as he said. Zhou Jie's heart trembled when he heard this, guessing that it might be related to the revival of the Holy Land. Although he was worried, Zhou Jie still nodded solemnly. Just when Zhou Jie thought the Zhou clan's sacred ancestor would continue, he sighed slightly and said, "Child, do you know why only the Li clan's sacred ancestor and I have reached the saint realm?" Zhou Jie could not help but be taken aback when he heard this question and was about to shake his head and say, "I don't know," when the Zhou clan's sacred ancestor continued. In fact, it is because the universe's origin consciousness can only bear the will of 2 saint realm masters and cannot bear the appearance of a third. I am not dead. As soon as this statement came out, Zhou Jie was shocked again. He thought that the Zhou clan's sacred ancestor's light phantom here was just a wisp of his soul, but the Zhou clan's sacred ancestor said he was not dead. How could this not surprise Zhou Jie? Zhou's sacred ancestor continued, "When I reached the end of the path to becoming a saint, I thought that all I needed to do was to place my consciousness above the original consciousness of the universe. Then, I would be able to control the universe and reach the ultimate level above becoming a saint." In fact, I was not the only one who thought so. The Li clan's sacred ancestor also thought so, but when I tried to control the universe's origin consciousness, I found that it seemed to be contaminated by some foreign will. This made me and the Li clan's sacred ancestor somewhat cautious, neither of us daring to take the risk of trying to control the universe's origin consciousness. But who can resist the temptation of surpassing the saint realm forever? In the end, I was the first to try to control the universe's origin consciousness, but I failed and was injured by the foreign evil will, causing my cultivation to plummet. Speaking of which, child, you should also know why the war between the 2 holy lands broke out. That's right, after the Li clan's sacred ancestor discovered that my cultivation had plummeted, he wanted to devour my will to strengthen his will and then control the universe's origin consciousness. Therefore, he started the Holy Land War, which led to the destruction of my Zhou clan's holy land. However, The Li clan's sacred ancestor did not expect that although he defeated me and devoured my power, he could not erase my will. As a result, my will is still alive, and with his permission, I can still use the power of the Saint Realm. Child, you should be very confused about what happened before. In fact, it was a bet between me and the Li clan's sacred ancestor, and I was the one who won in the end. That was why he allowed me to control the power of the Saint Realm and brought the Zhou clan's Holy Land ruins here, all for the sake of helping you become a transcendent or even a saint. Hearing this, I think you must be curious as to why the Li clan's sacred ancestor would allow you to grow into a transcendent or even a saint. The reason is simple. He devoured my power, but found that it was not enough for him to eliminate the foreign will and control the universe's origin. Therefore, he hoped that you could become a new saint with my help, and then he would fight you. If you lost, he would naturally devour you to strengthen his power, and only then would he have the confidence to control the universe's origin. However, if you won, it would be the other way around, and you would have the chance to control the universe's origin. Child, I know that you are shocked by all of this, but you have no choice. Even if you know that it would be difficult for you to defeat the Li clan's sacred ancestor after becoming a saint, this is your only chance, and also my only hope, child. I have to tell you a truth that the Li clan's sacred ancestor does not know. When I failed to control the universe's origin, the fundamental reason was that I was no match for that foreign will. The Li clan's sacred ancestor had never truly tried to control the universe's origin, and he did not know how powerful that foreign will was. It is a power that makes one despair, and it could trigger the most painful things in the depths of one's heart, awaken what one desires the most, and send one into madness. If I had not prepared a clone and obtained the imperishable blood from the Ancient One as a guide to preserve a shred of my own consciousness, I would have died then. The Li clan's sacred ancestor was cautious, and only dared to probe the foreign will in the universe's origin many times, but he did not dare to fight it, giving me a chance to take advantage of. This time, I made a promise with him that I would fuse my will with you. After that, I would truly die, and you would have the chance and assurance to become a saint. As for whether you could succeed in the end, it would be up to you. In fact, even if you failed, the Li clan's sacred ancestor would still help you become a saint. After all, you would be the one with the greatest hope of becoming a saint after receiving all of my will, and he would not go back on his word. Lastly, child, of course I hope that you win, but even if you win, do not try to control the universe's origin. That foreign will is too terrifying, and even if the Li clan's sacred ancestor wins and devours you, he would not be able to get rid of that foreign will controlling the universe's origin, and in the end, it might become its nourishment. Moreover, I suspect that the foreign will ultimately destroy the universe's origin, and when that happens, every living thing in this universe would face the harshest calamity. I can't think of any way to resolve that calamity, and perhaps I can only hope that one of you and the Li clan's sacred ancestor would one day come up with a solution. Chapter 462. Hearing this, Zhou Jie's expression changed slightly. After a moment of hesitation, he said, "Divine Ancestor, I have another question." "Go ahead," the Zhou clan's divine ancestor responded indifferently. Zhou Jie swallowed subconsciously and asked, "If a person's true spirit disappears in the true spirit river, is there a way to revive it?" The Zhou clan's divine ancestor never expected that Zhou Jie would ask such a question at this time instead of caring about what he was talking about. As such, his brow furrowed slightly, and after a moment of silence, he replied, "In theory, it should be possible, but that would require a breakthrough to the Saint Realm and full control of the universe's source consciousness." Zhou Jie couldn't help but fall into a daze when he heard this answer. Surpassing the Saint Realm meant that he would need to defeat the Li clan's divine ancestor and devour his power. Only then would he have a slim chance of getting rid of the foreign consciousness and completely fusing with the universe origin consciousness. This was almost impossible. Seeing Zhou Jie's reaction, the Zhou clan's divine ancestor understood what Zhou Jie was thinking, but he didn't try to comfort him. Instead, he said indifferently, "Child, time is running out. Prepare to accept my inheritance. You still have things to do next, and I don't want you to regret it." "What? What do I need to do next?" Zhou Jie was very surprised and couldn't help but ask hurriedly. But the Zhou clan's divine ancestor only smiled faintly and didn't answer. The figure of light quickly blurred and brightened, an extremely vast power erupted from the Zhou clan's divine ancestor and poured into Zhou Jie's body. Zhou Jie didn't resist and couldn't resist. He actively and passively accepted the inheritance of the Zhou clan's divine ancestor. His cultivation continued to rise and soon reached a limit. The sacred ancestor clearly knew that Zhou Jie wouldn't be able to absorb the power of his inheritance all at once. Moreover, he wouldn't be able to break through to the transcendent realm without being in the central universe. Thus, when Zhou Jie's cultivation reached the limit of the universe emperor realm, the remaining power of the sacred ancestor transformed into a milky white crystal that sank into Zhou Jie's forehead and disappeared. At the same time, Zhou Jie's consciousness was constantly being drawn and extended until it reached the ancient Xian world, ancient mystic world. There was less than half a day left before the world emperor announced the date of his concubine marriage. A large number of cultivators at the imperial emperor realm and above were invited, and the ancient profound world became very lively. Within a room in the depths of the world monarch's palace, Su Yuyu wore a tight white silk dress, and her breathtaking and graceful curves and large expanses of snow-white skin were completely exposed. Coupled with the complicated markings of the laws on the surface of her skin, even an imperial monarch would be infatuated and unable to extricate himself from her beauty. Why are you still frowning? If you can't remember those bad things, then don't think about them." At a certain moment, the world monarch's voice suddenly rang out, and then the world monarch appeared beside Su Yuyu in a luxurious black robe. His eyes were as deep and calm as the stars as he looked into Su Yuyu's eyes. When their eyes met, Su Yuyu's body suddenly trembled, and a trace of a painful struggle appeared in her eyes. Then, she calmed down, and as if she had just seen the world monarch appear, she hurriedly bowed and saluted. "Master, you're here." The world monarch smiled and nodded, but then he said, "All right, from today onwards, you and I are husband and wife. You don't have to call me master anymore." As he spoke, the world monarch raised his hand and stroked Su Yuyu's face, and a trace of lust flashed in the depths of his eyes. "Yes." Su Yuyu hesitated for a moment and replied. She didn't know why, but at this moment she felt inexplicably flustered, and even a little scared. The world monarch seemed to have seen through the changes in Su Yuyu's heart, and his brows furrowed slightly. He secretly snorted in his heart, "This goddess is so infatuated with that brat. Even after I sealed her memories, she can still feel that something is wrong, and is even afraid of me. Whatever, as long as I can make her willing to dual cultivate with me, everything can be discussed. After a long time, she will have a good impression of me and get used to the feeling of losing her memories. All right, get ready. After I finish my lecture, you and I will have our wedding." The world monarch put away the trace of displeasure in his heart and smiled at Su Yuyu. Seeing that she nodded in agreement, the world monarch laughed and left. Looking at the place where the world monarch disappeared, Su Yuyu's face revealed a trace of pain. "What did I forget? Why do I feel so unfamiliar with Master?" Su Yuyu tried hard to remember something, and the back of a person seemed to appear in her mind, but when she wanted to see clearly, she couldn't get close. Origin-seeking realm. Zhou Jie awoke from the inheritance, and in the instant that he opened his eyes, an invisible pressure spread out, causing the entire origin-seeking realm to tremble violently. However, this was not entirely caused by Zhou Jie. Part of the reason was that, after the death of the sacred ancestor, the origin-seeking realm automatically began to collapse, and Zhou Jie's pressure only accelerated the process for an instant. Yo-yu. A cold light flashed through Zhou Jie's eyes. At this moment, he understood what the sacred ancestor had said to him. You still have things to do, and I don't want you to miss them and regret it, Hong. Zhou Jie stood up. The origin world seemed to be unable to endure the pressure emanating from him, and it started to collapse completely. The platform beneath Zhou Jie's feet shattered and quickly transformed into nothingness. Meanwhile, Zhou Jie had already vanished. Zhou Jie appeared in a vast expanse of white space. He was just about to leave when he discovered that this expanse of space had been sealed off from the outside by some unknown power. Zhou Jie understood that someone had sealed off the statue he had entered from, and this was definitely not a coincidence. Zhou Jie had no time to think. With a flip of his hand, the heavenly plan sword viciously stabbed into the depths of space. There was no sound, but the heavenly plan sword was sent flying back. This caused Zhou Jie to frown. The sealing power of the outside world had exceeded his expectations. My strength has already reached the pseudo-realm, and a casual strike of my sword can't even shake this sealing power. It looks like the person behind this really did come prepared. Zhou Jie thought to himself, but his hands did not stop moving. The heavenly plan sword flew out again, and its power was clearly much greater than the first time. However, Zhou Jie's second strike was still unable to break through the seal, and it only shook it slightly. This caused Zhou Jie's expression to become much more solemn. After pondering for a moment, Zhou Jie used the indestructible demon body, and black chains appeared on the surface of his body. Primal Chaos Demon Sealing Lock, Primal Chaos Heaven Splitting. While Zhou Jie was attacking the seal, the Realm Emperor was preaching. This was the reward. He had invited many cultivators above the Imperial Emperor realm to attend the wedding, and it was also because of this that so many people came to attend the wedding. Well, I'll start with this preaching. After you witness this emperor's wedding, this emperor will continue to preach for 10 years. The Realm Emperor stood on a high platform and said to the hundreds of cultivators who came to attend his wedding. As soon as he finished speaking, several cultivators of the Universe Emperor realm below the platform stood up to congratulate the Realm Emperor and directly presented gifts. With this opening, the cultivators who had prepared gifts began to present their gifts one after another. The World Emperor was already prepared for this. After accepting everyone's gifts with a "ha-ha," he gave everyone a thumb-sized purple ball of light and said, "This is a little bit of cultivation comprehension of this emperor. According to the different realms of everyone, there will be different gains. Consider it as a return gift from this emperor to thank everyone. Everyone, please accept it." As a result, everyone below the platform was overjoyed. A small number of cultivators of the Imperial Emperor realm, who did not present gifts, also received the light ball from the Realm Emperor. They were all terrified, but they did not dare to make a last-minute effort to present their gifts. In their opinion, the Realm Emperor would not care about small figures of the early and middle stages of the Imperial Emperor realm. It was the same whether they gave gifts or not. However, they did not expect that the Realm Emperor would give gifts to them instead. This inevitably made them panic. However, the Realm Emperor really did not care whether the people below the platform gave gifts or not. After all, in his eyes, they were just dead people. Well, now, this emperor will invite out the imperial concubine for everyone to see a little you, the Realm Emperor said to everyone with a smile, and then he turned his head and called out to Suyu. As soon as the Realm Emperor finished speaking, the void not far from him tore apart and formed a vortex, and Suyu, who wore a white gauze dress, walked out from it. Chapter 463. After Suyu appeared, there was a trace of unconcealable sadness on her face, and there was no smile at all. But when they saw Suyu, all of them were shocked, and they were instantly stunned on the spot. For a moment the audience was silent, but the Realm Emperor smiled with great satisfaction. Just as he was about to say something, his face suddenly changed. Almost as the Realm Emperor's face changed, and at the same time, he looked up at the distant membrane of the Heaven Realm. A dazzling red light burst out from the membrane of the Heaven Realm, like a fiery red arrow tearing through the membrane and penetrating in. Without saying a word, the World Emperor transformed a huge black shadow that was hundreds of thousands of feet long behind him. With the appearance of this black shadow, the Heaven Realm instantly turned pitch black, leaving only 9 huge balls of milky white energy floating there. Under the reflection of each other, they formed a huge protective array. "Who dares to break into my wedding place?" The Realm Emperor let out a roar containing terrifying power, and went straight to the red arrow energy that pierced the membrane of the Heaven Realm. Rumble! The red arrow pierced the protective array, and at the same time, it was hit by the Realm Emperor's roar. Its forward momentum was stopped, and it quickly collapsed and disappeared without a trace. After the red arrow collapsed, Zhou Jie's cold and angry voice echoed in the sky. "Realm Emperor, what did you do to Su Yuyu?" Under Zhou Jie's question, everyone under the stage was stunned, and the Realm Emperor's pupil shrank, and then he said coldly, "It's you. Although I don't know how you came out, do I need you to tell me how to marry a concubine? Su Yuyu is the concubine chosen by me, and she is willing to serve me as her master. What does this have to do with you?" As the Realm Emperor spoke, he did not notice that after hearing Zhou Jie's voice, Su Yuyu's body trembled, and her eyes were filled with confusion, as if her mind had fallen into a blank. On the other side, although the Realm Emperor was a little surprised by Zhou Jie's appearance, he could sense that there was still some time before Zhou Jie would come here. The attack just now was the space-time that Zhou Jie used with the 8th realm of myriad arts of heavenly mastery. At that time, Zhou Jie was still in the 4th-dimensional universe, and the attack had already arrived outside the ancient mysterious world. Therefore, the Realm Emperor was not too panicked. After all, he now had the conditions to break through to the transcendent level. As long as he was willing, he could immediately achieve the strength of the pseudo-transcendent in the dimensional universe. He was invincible below the transcendent level, which also meant that he was invincible in the dimensional universe. He was not even afraid of a dream transcendent, so why should he be afraid of Zhou Jie? Through the karma connection of the Realm Emperor's words and Zhou, he was furious. Zhou was, Realm Emperor, hand over Su Yu. Otherwise, when I arrive, it will be the moment of your death. Zhou Jie's words were transmitted to the Heaven Realm through karma, and the Realm Emperor and the others heard it clearly. Except for the Realm Emperor and Su Yu, almost everyone's face turned pale. They wondered where this hothead came from, daring to say such laughable words. After all, even a pseudo-transcendent expert would not dare to say that he could kill the Realm Emperor in his hometown. The Realm Emperor relied on the large array and the resources he had set up in the Heaven Realm for countless years, and he was strong enough to contend with a pseudo-transcendent. Hearing Zhou Jie's threat, the Realm Emperor's face turned ugly. Although he also thought that Zhou Jie's words were ridiculous, he had lived for so long, and being cautious was a habit. In his opinion, Zhou Jie knew his strength and dared to say such words. Obviously, he had something to rely on, so he had to be prepared for it. So the Realm Emperor coldly snorted and said, "Ridiculous, this Emperor is waiting for you here. If you dare to come, this will be your burial ground." Before the Realm Emperor finished speaking, a cold light flashed in his eyes, and the hundreds of thousands of feet of black shadow behind him suddenly turned into a black sea, silently swallowing all the cultivators below the stage in an instant. Under the battle array that the World Emperor had been planning for a long time, none of the Emperor Realm cultivators who came to participate in the wedding could resist for a moment. After they died, they became nourishment for the World Emperor, and several Universe Emperor realm cultivators were caught off guard and couldn't resist for long. A second before Zhou Jie arrived outside the Heaven Realm, they also became a part of the World Emperor's cultivation. Xiaoyu, offer your blood of laws to this emperor, quick! While devouring everyone below the stage, the Realm Emperor turned his head and roared at Suyuyu. His avatar appeared and pounced on Suyuyu. The Realm Emperor's avatar was like a real entity. Naked, he wanted to have sex with Suyuyu to seize her blood of laws. But at this moment, half of the Heaven Realm seemed to have collapsed. A large piece of the wall directly collapsed and disappeared. A pair of huge blue eyes appeared and replaced the sky. These were the eyes that Zhou Jie had created with a magical ability. When they appeared, the void fluctuated violently, and a huge pressure that shook the soul descended. Under this extremely terrifying soul pressure, the Realm Emperor's expression changed instantly. Just as he was about to touch Suyuyu, his avatar collapsed. At the same time, Suyuyu came back to her senses. The struggle in her eyes completely disappeared, and a cold light appeared in her eyes. Master! Suyuyu's first words after she came back to her senses were these two words. But this time, she did not shout for the Realm Emperor, but Zhou Jie. At the same time, the Realm Emperor's face turned ferocious. He grabbed at the air and sealed Suyuyu in place. Give me the blood of laws. Don't force me to use force. The Realm Emperor transmitted a message to Suyuyu. His tone was full of threat. At this time, he naturally realized that Suyuyu's memory had recovered under the impact of Zhou Jie's consciousness pressure. Generally speaking, the blood of laws of the goddess could only be completely absorbed by others if she voluntarily offered it. However, if the goddess herself was not taken into consideration, she could also forcibly obtain part of the blood of laws. Because of this, the effect of obtaining the blood of laws would be poor. It was tantamount to killing the goose that lays the golden eggs. Therefore, the Realm Emperor did not want to do this unless he had no other choice. However, in the face of the Realm Emperor's threat, Suyuyu, who knew his thoughts, chose to seal her consciousness and divine body after a short consideration. This completely cut off the possibility of the Realm Emperor's further threat. Because of this, Suyuyu could not hear any messages from the outside world. Because her divine body was sealed, it was even more difficult for the Realm Emperor to forcibly obtain the blood of laws. Moreover, after forcibly obtaining it, the damage to Suyuyu would be even greater. Bitch, you're courting death. The Realm Emperor realized this, and could not help but roar in anger. However, just as the Realm Emperor finished roaring and was about to forcibly obtain Suyuyu's blood of laws, the scene in the area he was in suddenly changed. The originally damaged void turned into an airspace filled with a blood-colored storm. This blood-colored sky region was the void world that Zhou Jie had created using his Heart Force secret technique. It represented a dense killing intent, and if an ordinary late-stage Cosmos Emperor realm cultivator were to enter it, their mind would be instantly destroyed and they would die. However, for the Realm Emperor, although the virtual world was strong, it was still not enough to kill him due to Zhou Jie's cultivation. Especially under the obstruction of the protective array, it was difficult to even stop him for a few seconds. However, what Zhou Jie wanted was these few seconds. Even if it was just 1 second, it would be enough. Roar. The World Emperor let out a roar in the virtual world. Countless gray shadows mixed with purple crystal-like fragments appeared in the void, tearing the entire virtual world apart. At the same time, Zhou Jie arrived outside the heavenly realm. Within the heavenly realm, a huge protective array completely appeared and turned into a dark purple transparent diamond, protecting the Realm Emperor. Zhou Jie did not hesitate at all and directly used the extraordinary arcana technique that he had long prepared, Dawn. With Zhou Jie's current strength, the Dawn technique was infinitely close to extraordinary power. It even triggered the pressure of the universe's origin law to descend and limit its power. The Realm Emperor was shocked and did not care about forcibly obtaining the blood of laws. He swallowed the divine bodies and soul origins of many cultivators in one gulp and directly turned them into a protective force that was injected into the array to resist Zhou Jie's Dawn Arcana technique. Zhou Jie, you're crazy. A mere cauldron dares to make an enemy out of me. The Realm Emperor felt that Zhou Jie's terrifying attack had almost destroyed the array that he had been operating for tens of thousands of years. He was shocked and angry at once and roared. However, the Realm Emperor received an even angrier response from Zhou Jie. Shut up, she's my woman. No one can touch her. Before he finished speaking, the protective array of the heavenly realm suddenly shattered, revealing the stunned Realm Emperor inside. Chapter 464. The reason why the World Emperor was stunned was not because of Zhou Jie's words, but because of the instant collapse of the protective formation. It was so fast that he could not even react. It was so fast that he began to doubt himself. What had just happened? It turned out that at that moment, Zhou Jie's body seemed to have been unsealed, and a pure extraordinary power erupted. He only threw a punch at lightning speed. It seemed that there was no secret technique contained in it, but the protective formation was directly broken. Then, the World Emperor once again fell into the virtual world. Above his head was a blue-purple chaotic sky, and below his feet was a huge black and red vortex. A destructive pressure shrouded the World Emperor, making his scalp tingle. Impossible, impossible. This is extraordinary power. I am in the dimensional universe. How can there be extraordinary power? This goes against the original consciousness of the universe and should not exist. The World Emperor screamed crazily in his heart and mobilized all his power to break this virtual world. However, he was horrified to find that his power seemed to be suppressed and could not be released at all. Just as the World Emperor was in fear, the bluish-purple sky above his head was suddenly pierced by a few illusory green chains. It was violently torn apart, causing the entire virtual world to rumble continuously as if it was going to shatter in the next second. At the same time, Zhou Jie, who was dressed in black, appeared above the sky. On his body, countless illusory green chains pierced into him, as if to seal him. When the World Emperor saw this, he could not help but gasp and said in a trembling voice, You are crazy, extraordinary, you dare to break through to the extraordinary level in the dimensional universe, and you actually did it? Impossible, this is impossible, this is all fake, break everything for me. With the World Emperor's roar, he activated his Life Emperor weapon and burst out a terrifying energy comparable to extraordinary power. The virtual world, which was about to be torn apart, began to shatter in an instant. Zhou Jie's body was pierced by the green chains, causing him incomparable pain. Zhou Jie's aura was very unstable, but his eyes were extremely cold and contained a trace of madness. He seemed to slowly raise his right hand, and his body instantly turned pitch black. He was using the eternal demon body to its limit. Under the state of the indestructible demon body, Zhou Jie's body was rapidly being destroyed and restored. In this state, Zhou Jie pointed at the World Emperor from a distance. At that time, the World Emperor was bursting with all his power and was in a state of madness. Even a pseudo-extraordinary expert would be shocked if they saw him. However, when Zhou Jie pointed at him from a distance, his body trembled and his face was filled with disbelief. Everything in the virtual world that he was in instantly turned pitch black, as if the area he was in had been erased and no longer existed. Myriad arts of heaven span, total annihilation. With a single finger, all 10 sides were destroyed. With the transcendent power obtained from breaking through to the transcendent realm, Zhou Jie used the ultimate move of this holy technique for the first time, erasing the World Emperor and the virtual world together. However, after this finger, Zhou Jie's body trembled, and the terrifying aura and energy on his body dissipated like a tide. Amidst the roar of the universe, the countless illusory green chains on Zhou Jie's body disappeared in the blink of an eye, as if they had never appeared. Zhou Jie's aura also stabilized, and in the end, it was almost non-existent. After killing the World Queen, the Heaven Realm had already become a spatial ruin. Even calling it a ruin was a compliment. However, in this extremely shattered void, there was a small space that was still surprisingly stable. That was where Suyiyu was. Zhou Jie appeared in front of Suyiyu in a flash. After hugging her waist, he disappeared from this side of the void, disappearing from the ancient mystic world, Maoan Star Region, Flower Planet. Zhou Jie also accidentally discovered a life planet called Flower Planet. Flower Planet was not big, only 5,000 kilometers in diameter. There was no ocean on it, only a large area of muddy wetlands covered by strange flower-shaped plants. Most of the land was also covered by beautiful flowers. In addition, there were no high-level intelligent life forms on Flower Planet, and the number of animals was very small. Almost all of them were flowers of various colors. Zhou Jie brought Suyiyu to a sea of flowers on Flower Planet and woke her up there. When Suyiyu heard Zhou Jie's call, her closed mind trembled. However, at first, she did not seem to believe that it was real and was still unwilling to open her mind. It was not until Zhou Jie tried to wake her up for the 5th time that she opened her eyes. When Suyiyu saw Zhou Jie close by and the sea of flowers behind him, she was obviously stunned for a moment, but then she pursed her lips and shook her head. 2 lines of clear tears fell from the corners of her eyes. Zhou Jie looked at Suyiyu like this. Although he didn't understand why she was crying, his heart seemed to ache for no reason, very, very much. I know this is all fake. Don't worry, Master, Suyiyu will not be fooled. Aside from Master, Suyiyu will not give the law blood to anyone. Suyiyu looked at Zhou Jie and said this. More tears fell from her face. At this moment, Zhou Jie realized what Suyiyu was thinking. It turned out that she thought that everything in front of her was an illusion, something that the world monarch had done to trick her into giving up the law blood. Suyuyu's words made Zhou Jie's heart ache even more. It turned out that the woman in front of him truly loved him. Even though he had heard her again and again, Zhou Jie looked at Suyiyu, and for the first time, his gaze was incomparably gentle. It was like a man looking at his beloved woman, so gentle. Look. Zhou Jie seemed to hesitate for a moment before stiffly opening his mouth. At the same time, he raised his right hand and a screen of light appeared in his palm. Scenes appeared on the screen of light. What was shown was the battle between Zhou Jie and the world monarch after Suyiyu sealed herself, as well as when Zhou Jie brought Suyiyu here. Seeing everything that was shown on the screen of light in Zhou Jie's hand, Suyiyu was stunned for a moment. Her tears unconsciously stopped flowing and her lips quivered. I don't know how to explain, Zhou Jie timely said. When I learned that you were taken away by the world monarch, I was very worried. Zhou Jie suddenly fell silent, as if he had thousands of words to say but did not know where to start. But Suyiyu understood, so she smiled. Seeing that Zhou Jie was a bit embarrassed, she did not say anything. Instead, she floated forward and hugged Zhou Jie tightly. Zhou Jie did not resist, but after being hugged, his body subconsciously tightened. Then, he came back to his senses and hugged Suyiyu tightly in front of him. I'm sorry, really. I'm very sorry, Zhou Jie said in Suyuyu's ear. He suddenly felt that he was not himself, but he had found his true self. This feeling was very strange. Hearing Zhou Jie's words, Suyiyu also felt that it was unreal, but she could not refuse, so she relaxed and murmured, even if this is all an illusion, Youyu is willing. Suyuyu's words made Zhou Jie feel a bit sorry, but he had already accepted it. He hugged Suyiyu even tighter and said in her ear, I will make you believe this is real. Let me tell you my story. Suyiyu nodded and the two separated from each other and sat in the sea of flowers. Zhou Jie began to tell his story. It was just like what he had told Ling Shuer before, but it was longer. Zhou Jie's story was told for more than an entire day. After hearing it, Su Yuyu chose to believe that Zhou Jie was real and cried tears of joy. In the future, I will accompany you, but I also hope that you can accept Shuer. I promise to revive her. At the end of the story, Zhou Jie said to Su Yuyu. Yes, as long as Yuyu can follow. Jocko, it's fine. I hope big sister Shuer will accept me. Su Yuyu replied in response. In order to kill the world emperor, Zhou Jie did not hesitate to break through to the transcendent realm in the dimensional universe, surpassing the laws of the universe's origin consciousness and temporarily obtaining transcendent power. Because of this, he was restricted and injured by the universe's origin laws and needed a long time to recover. During this time, Zhou Jie planned to live a peaceful life with Su Yuyu. On one hand, he could recover his cultivation, and on the other hand, he could continue to comprehend the inheritance consciousness of the Zhou family's divine ancestor and the origin-seeking technique. This was to strive to transcend mortality and become a saint as quickly as possible after entering the central universe. Time passed peacefully. On this day, more than 7,400 years later, Zhou Jie's peaceful life came to an end. Chapter 465. This day has finally come. Zhou Jie sat cross-legged on a rock in the forest and slowly opened his eyes. Zhou Jie was on an extremely ordinary planet with life in the seventh dimension called Earth Star. Yes, this was the place where Zhou Jie first met Frisia. About 100 years ago, Zhou Jie brought Su Yuyu and Kakashi here and lived on it in an extremely low-key manner until today. At this moment, Zhou Jie's consciousness had completed the final breakthrough. According to his plan, as long as he went to the central universe, it would be easy for him to break through to the transcendent level. He might even become a saint directly. As for whether he could succeed, he still had to try. When my consciousness is complete, it means that everything is complete. It's time to go to the central universe. Zhou Jie muttered to himself and then looked up at the sky. The sun was bright and scattered through the layers of forest leaves, forming golden spots on the ground. Zhou Jie sighed in his heart and disappeared from the giant rock. When he reappeared, he was already beside a mountain stream. A little boy wearing denim shorts and a denim top was standing in the middle of the stream, holding a harpoon and looking around. Obviously, he was fishing. Beside the stream stood a woman with a hot body. She wore a pair of skinny jeans and a white short-sleeved shirt that exposed her navel. Her long pink hair was tied up neatly behind her head, making her look neat and tidy. These two people were Kakashi and Su Yuyu. Today, Zhou Jie brought them here to play. Zhou Jie was suddenly inspired and went to the side to cultivate for a short while. He didn't expect that he would reach the great perfection directly. Su Yuyu sensed Zhou Jie's return. When she turned around and saw Zhou Jie, she immediately smiled and said, "Jocko?" Kakashi also turned around. When he saw Zhou Jie, he waved his hand excitedly and shouted, "Jocko, I just caught a fish. Wait for me to catch 2 more. Let's have grilled fish for lunch." Zhou Jie first smiled at Su Yuyu and then said to Kakashi, "Today's schedule is quite full. We'll have grilled fish in the future. We should go now. Accompany me on a trip to the past." Kakashi was obviously stunned when he heard this. For a moment, he seemed to be confused. However, Zhou Jie had clearly made up his mind. Without waiting for Kakashi's reply, he waved his hand, and the harpoon in Kakashi's hand and the bucket on the shore disappeared without a trace. The fish in Kakashi's harpoon also returned to the stream and swam in the water, unharmed. Before Zhou Jie went to the central universe, what he wanted to do the most was to visit his home universe with Su Yuyu and Kakashi again. He wanted to see all the places he had been to before. Planet of Slaughter, Planet of Sun, Planet of Dragon Pulse, and even Planet of Zergs. Zhou Jie brought Su Yuyu and Kakashi to visit one by one. Every time, he would briefly introduce these places to Suyuyu, but he would not stay for too long. With Zhou Jie's speed, he could reach any place in the 7th dimension in just a few seconds. Therefore, it only took him less than half a day to bring Suyuyu and Kakashi to visit almost all the places he had been to before. After doing all this, Zhou Jie officially planned to go to the Central Universe. Suyuyu had long heard from Zhou Jie that he wanted to go to the Central Universe one day because he wanted to transcend mortality and become a saint. He wanted to revive Ling Xue'er and have a fated battle with the Li family's divine ancestor, whom he had never met before. Suyuyu wanted to stop Zhou Jie from making this arrangement. Of course, she hoped that Zhou Jie would hide in the Central Universe and never go there. That way, Zhou Jie could continue to live peacefully with her. It would be fine even if millions of years passed. However, Zhou Jie wanted to revive Ling Xue'er and had also agreed to complete the fated battle with the Li family's divine ancestor. Therefore, Suyuyu knew that it was impossible for Zhou Jie not to go to the Central Universe. All she could do was silently support him. However, Zhou Jie went to the Central Universe and asked Suyuyu and Kakashi to wait for him in the 7th dimension. Although Suyuyu and Kakashi were extremely unwilling, they could not disobey Zhou Jie's will. In the end, they parted ways with Zhou Jie in the 7th dimension. In the atmosphere of a certain life planet, Zhou Jie and Suyuyu had just finished making love. "Jocko, you must come back." The naked Suyuyu hugged Zhou Jie tightly. Zhou Jie's expression was calm, but his eyes were full of gentleness. He lowered his head and kissed Suyuyu's forehead. Then, he said firmly, "Wait for me to come back." Zhou Jie left. At the edge of the 7th dimension, Zhou Jie's figure quietly appeared. He looked at the passage to the Central Universe not far away and the tall and straight figure in front of the passage. His calm gaze gradually became fierce. "Senior Sacred Emperor!" Zhou Jie shouted. Sacred Emperor Yi Gu, who was in front of the passage, did not notice his arrival immediately. It was only when Zhou Jie came behind him and called out that Sacred Emperor Yi Gu was startled and turned around. "Lord Sacred Emperor!" Sacred Emperor Yi Gu turned around and bowed respectfully to Zhou Jie. He had met Zhou Jie again thousands of years ago. After learning about Zhou Jie's experience, he was deeply moved and agreed to go to the Central Universe with Zhou Jie. Today, Zhou Jie sent a message to Sacred Emperor Yi Gu in advance and asked him to meet him in front of the passage. That was why this scene happened. After greeting each other, Zhou Jie and the Sacred Emperor Yi Gu did not say much. They looked at each other with a serious expression and walked toward the passage together. Zhou Jie and Sacred Emperor Yi Gu arrived at the Central Universe in silence. Because they did not deliberately connect, they were randomly sent to two different places in the Central Universe. This time, Sacred Emperor Yi Gu and Zhou Jie came to the Central Universe with the same primary purpose, which was to try to become transcendents. Previously, Sacred Emperor Yi Gu hid in the dimensional universe because of the existence of the Li Holy Ground in order to preserve part of the inheritance of the Zhou Holy Ground. But now, he learned about the scheme of the Li Holy Ground from Zhou Jie and realized that he had been overthinking in the past. The Li Holy Ground did not take him seriously at all, even if he became a transcendence. Although Zhou Jie and Sacred Emperor Yi Gu were separated, they were not too far away from each other and could still sense each other's presence. But both Zhou Jie and Sacred Emperor Yi Gu knew that it was not a good time to disturb each other, which was why they did not force themselves to stay together when they came out. Zhou Jie floated in the dark space of the universe and sensed quietly. He seemed to have discovered the vastness of the universe for the first time. This was not only because the Central Universe was indeed much bigger than the dimensional universe, but also because Zhou Jie felt the existence of the consciousness of the origin of the universe more clearly than before. After a long time, Zhou Jie felt that he was about to break through. His consciousness began to penetrate into the consciousness of the origin of the universe, and the two began a special communication. Zhou Jie started to walk forward in the universe. Every step he took was very ordinary, and each step he took was less than a meter away. However, every time Zhou Jie lifted his foot, the cosmic space within an extremely large range would undergo an earth-shattering change. But the frightening thing was that these changes could only be sensed by a portion of powerhouses at the Universe Emperor realm and above. From this point of view, the changes in the universe within a certain range where Zhou Jie was located were very subtle, but those who could feel it deeply would never think so. It was like a high-level Rubik's Cube that was restored under extreme disorder. Its appearance did not change at all, but the position of every component in it had undergone a great change. Time passed by, and Zhou Jie was still walking forward slowly. The distance of each step was exactly the same. It wasn't until Zhou Jie finished the 9,999th step that he stopped and opened his eyes. What kind of eyes were those? They were emitting a faint light, and it seemed that a complete universe was reflected in them. This universe was even operating according to a certain law, and all living things were integrated into it. It was as if there was another dimension of the universe in Zhou Jie's eyes. I want to transcend the mortal world and enter the divine world. I will transcend the mortal world and enter the divine world. Zhou Jie spoke in a firm tone, as if he was talking to himself. But just as he finished speaking, an incredible pressure suddenly descended on this part of the universe, and time and space rapidly changed. Zhou Jie felt the call from the origin of the universe, and he did not hesitate to send his consciousness into it. At that moment, Zhou Jie only felt a little dizzy, as if he could not bear it, but he vaguely seemed to see everything. Every scene and every living thing in the central universe and the dimensional universe seemed to appear in his consciousness. But because of the dizziness of his consciousness, Zhou Jie could only vaguely see and could not do anything. Chapter 466. This vague feeling of looking down on everything in the universe lasted for a while. Suddenly, Zhou Jie felt an extremely evil and cold aura, like gangrene attached to the bone, directly penetrating into the depths of Zhou Jie's soul origin consciousness. At that moment, Zhou Jie could not help but feel his soul tremble. What made him even more shocked was that it was not only his soul consciousness that was trembling, but also the consciousness of the universe's origin. Zhou Jie did not know why, but he could clearly feel that the consciousness of the universe's origin was wailing, like a baby that had suffered pain and could only cry helplessly. Zhou Jie knew that in the process of becoming a saint, part of his fusion with the consciousness of the universe's origin had occurred. This fusion was temporary, but it was extremely beneficial to Zhou Jie. As long as he could master the complete laws of the universe's origin at this time, he could become a saint expert. If Zhou Jie could even fuse with the consciousness of the universe's origin, he could even surpass it and reach the legendary realm above the saint. This was also the realm that the Li family's divine ancestor had always been pursuing. It was called the Eternal God Realm, which, as the name suggested, meant the God of the universe. As time passed, Zhou Jie could increasingly feel the fear of the consciousness of the universe's origin, as well as the continuous infiltration of the extremely cold and evil consciousness. Unprepared, Zhou Jie felt as if he had fallen into hell, and everything became the source of despair. In every short moment, Zhou Jie could feel endless cruelty and crazy desires, including the desire to kill, greed, lust, destruction, and so on. Although Zhou Jie had also experienced a lot of killing and had experienced the various states of the world in the illusion for thousands of years, he had never felt the terrible impact of all these thoughts so intensely. Its existence was beyond all illusions, even beyond human imagination. No matter how perfect the virtual world was, it could not be deduced. Moreover, it appeared directly in Zhou Jie's consciousness, and there was no way to resist it. The more time passed, the more Zhou Jie felt that he was going to go crazy. He wanted to kill, destroy, and immerse himself in the carnival of carnal desires, as if everything else did not exist. After losing his rationality, he would become a walking corpse, and his consciousness would become part of the evil consciousness, turning into nourishment to strengthen it. After an unknown period of time, Zhou Jie once again felt the wail of the universe's consciousness. It seemed to be asking Zhou Jie for help and transmitted a trace of warm consciousness to help Zhou Jie recover some of his rationality. "I can't help you." Zhou Jie was terrified. The fear was beyond his control, causing his soul to tremble as he answered the consciousness of the universe's origin. Zhou Jie rejected the consciousness of the universe's origin for help. However, Zhou Jie soon realized that something was wrong with him. He seemed to be too afraid, which was also caused by the influence of the evil consciousness. His consciousness was simply deranged because of its influence. Zhou Jie could not even distinguish his own existence and who he was. "I should go." Zhou Jie forced himself to stay awake and transmitted his thoughts to the consciousness of the universe's origin. The wail of the universe's origin became even louder, constantly transmitting its consciousness to Zhou Jie for help, but Zhou Jie did not stop. He forcibly separated his consciousness from the universe's origin and returned to reality. The moment he opened his eyes, Zhou Jie still had lingering fear and his eyes were filled with horror. At that moment, Zhou Jie was still a little confused about his own existence. "That's the evil consciousness the divine ancestor mentioned. No wonder the Li family's divine ancestor and he couldn't surpass the saint realm. I've also broken through to the saint realm now, but my consciousness is still far from being able to resist that evil consciousness. If I merge with the universe's origin, I will inevitably be infected by that evil consciousness and eventually become its helper, accelerating the destruction of the universe." Zhou Jie stood there, full of worry, not feeling the slightest joy of becoming a Saint Realm Master. After a moment of silence, Zhou Jie suddenly raised his head and looked into the distance. There was nothing there, but Zhou Jie's eyes seemed to have penetrated countless light years and met the eyes of another person who was looking at him. Zhou Jie knew that it was the Li family's divine ancestor. In the entire central universe, he was the only one who could make Zhou Jie feel it so clearly from such a great distance. It seemed to be saying to him, "I'm waiting for you here." Zhou Jie sensed it for a while but did not respond. The Li family's divine ancestor's perception gradually disappeared. He did not seem to be in a hurry to fight Zhou Jie, and Zhou Jie was not in a hurry either. Then, Zhou Jie turned to look in the direction of ancient divine emperor. Although they were millions of light years away, he could still clearly feel that ancient divine emperor was breaking through to the transcendent realm. The movement was so great that it was completely different from Zhou Jie's silent state. "I've directly surpassed the transcendent realm and become a Saint Realm Master. Although my divine body doesn't seem to have changed much, my consciousness has already become a Saint Realm Master. It's easy for me to kill a transcendent realm master, but the Li family's divine ancestor must be even stronger. Although I have to be mentally prepared for failure, I promised you that I would go back, and I also promised Shui that I would resurrect her. Unfortunately, even though I've become a Saint Realm Master, I still can't resurrect Shui. The only way is to surpass the Saint Realm. I have to win the battle against the Li family's divine ancestor," Zhou Jie told himself. In fact, he was not confident that he could win. Besides, even if he defeated the Li family's divine ancestor and fused with his consciousness, it was hard to say whether he could get rid of the evil consciousness from the outside, successfully fuse with the original consciousness of the universe, and surpass the Saint Realm Master. Since there was no other way, Zhou Jie had to think of something. Because of this, Zhou Jie wasn't in a hurry to fight the Li clan's divine ancestor. Instead, He sat down cross-legged and entered a meditative state. At the same time, Zhou Jie created a doppelganger to deal with the aftermath. In the blink of an eye, more than 400 years had passed. Zhou Jie's original body was still sitting there, but his consciousness was very active. He was constantly running around to carry out his plans. Zhou Jie's doppelganger also left some instructions to ancient divine emperor, who had just become a transcendent, and then went back to accompany Su Yiyu, telling her most of his thoughts and plans. There were some things that had to be faced. On this day, Zhou Jie's original body stood up, and his doppelganger in the dimensional universe also disappeared. With one step, Zhou Jie teleported hundreds of millions of light years away and appeared in a magical realm where time and space did not exist. The moment he appeared, Zhou Jie's divine body was destroyed by the special laws of the realm, leaving only a human figure of golden light, which slowly walked into the depths of the realm. Not long after, a gray figure of light appeared in the depths of the realm, facing Zhou Jie's golden figure of light. In the blink of an eye, they were only a few meters apart. "You're finally here." The gray figure of the Li family's divine ancestor seemed to be relieved. "I'm here, but my opponent is not you," Zhou Jie replied. The Li family's divine ancestor did not expect Zhou Jie to say that. He was surprised. "Your opponent is also not me," Zhou Jie said again. This time, the Li family's divine ancestor fell silent. He seemed to understand Zhou Jie's meaning, but he did not want to respond. Zhou Jie continued, "If I fail, you have to devour me in time in the consciousness of the universe's origin. I don't want to become nourishment for that evil consciousness. What are you going to do?" The Li family's divine ancestor asked urgently for the first time. He was obviously shocked by Zhou Jie's words. Zhou Jie did not answer. His idea was very simple. He had no confidence in fighting the Li family's divine ancestor, and he did not even have a chance of winning. However, he did not want to be defeated and devoured by the Li family's divine ancestor. Therefore, he chose to try to merge with the consciousness of the universe's origin in front of the Li family's divine ancestor. If he failed, the Li family's divine ancestor could take the opportunity to devour his consciousness and achieve his wish. He did as he said. In front of the light figure of the Li family's divine ancestor, Zhou Jie's golden figure of light suddenly blurred and then disappeared into nothingness. Is he crazy? The Li family's divine ancestor did not expect Zhou Jie to flee without a fight. He could not stop him and could only exclaim in shock. However, Zhou Jie did not hesitate to merge his consciousness with the consciousness of the universe's origin. He immediately felt the wail of the universe's origin and the invasion of that evil consciousness. "For everything I protect. Come, let me bear it for you." This time, Zhou Jie was prepared. With absolute faith, he chose to merge with the consciousness of the universe's origin. The consciousness of the universe's origin, helpless, chose Zhou Jie without any suspense. It was like a drowning person suddenly reaching out a hand to the drowning person, and the drowning person would unhesitatingly grab that hand. Chapter 467. Zhou Jie had completely predicted the reaction of the universe origin. This was also what he had gambled on, and it turned out that he had made the right bet. Zhou Jie's fusion with the universe origin went very smoothly, but at the same time, he felt the erosion of the evil consciousness more intensely than the last time. If it had been the last time Zhou Jie had suffered such erosion when he had become a saint, he would not have been able to withstand it for more than a few seconds before his mind would have been destroyed and he would have become nourishment for the evil consciousness. But this time, Zhou Jie was accepting the fusion of the universe origin at the same time. His consciousness origin was rapidly strengthening, so much so that he could resist the erosion of the evil consciousness for a while. But as time passed, Zhou Jie began to bear the pressure brought about by the fusion of the universe origin. The feeling was like Zhou Jie was a sealed bucket that could be expanded. As water was constantly added, the bucket was constantly expanding, and the more it expanded, the greater the pressure on the inner walls of the bucket. At the same time, he had to bear the pressure of the fusion of the universe origin and the erosion of the evil consciousness that was constantly strengthening. Although Zhou Jie tried his best to keep his mind clear, he also felt like he was on the verge of collapse. It was as if he would be consigned to eternal damnation if his mind wavered. Li Clan's Holy Land, Tomb Star Sea, on a huge river formed by bright shining meteorites, the Li Clan's divine ancestor sat cross-legged in a black robe. He looked up, and there was a frightening cold light in his eyes. He's going to fuse with the universe origin just like that. Does he think he can resist the foreign consciousness? He's still too young after all. How foolish! The Li Clan's divine ancestor could not help but curse in his heart. Zhou Jie's actions had put him in a situation where there was no way out. Just as Zhou Jie had said, if Zhou Jie failed, the Li Clan's divine ancestor would have to devour his consciousness immediately. And because Zhou Jie had already fused with the universe origin, he would also be forced to fuse with the universe origin. Then, he would have to face the foreign evil consciousness and fight it to the death. He's dragging me down with him. The Li Clan's divine ancestor was somewhat angry. After all, no one had been able to do this to him for tens of thousands of years. Now, because of a junior, he had to face a life-and-death battle, and it was the kind that had a slim chance of survival. In fact, Zhou Jie had thought about this for a long time, more than 400 years, and finally made this decision because he knew that there was not much time. Through the feeling when he had become a saint, Zhou Jie could vaguely feel that the foreign evil consciousness was gradually fusing with the universe origin. The evil consciousness seemed to be slowly but steadily growing stronger. The Li Clan's divine ancestor had been hesitating for tens of thousands of years. Back then, the Zhou clan's divine ancestor had made a failed attempt. But according to his words, Zhou Jie deduced that he had not received the recognition of the universe origin and had not fused with it. This was the biggest reason for his failure. This time, Zhou Jie felt the universe origin's wail. He believed that the universe origin was like a stray dog and urgently needed a person to replace it. For this reason, it was even willing to give up its own consciousness. So Zhou Jie took a gamble, and in the end, he won. That was why everything was happening now. The Li Clan's divine ancestor's consciousness had always been following Zhou Jie. He was not worried at all that Zhou Jie's consciousness, which had fused with the universe origin's consciousness, would harm him. This was because even if Zhou Jie had fused with the universe origin's consciousness, it would be difficult for him to resist the erosion of the evil consciousness. How could he still spare some consciousness to attack him? Similarly, the Li Clan's divine ancestor was not stupid enough to devour Zhou Jie's consciousness at this time. After all, Zhou Jie's consciousness had fused with the universe origin's consciousness. If he forcibly tried to devour Zhou Jie now, Zhou Jie would give up resisting the erosion of the evil consciousness and bite him instead. Then, the Li Clan's divine ancestor would not have a good time facing the evil consciousness earlier. Putting aside whether there was 100 harm or not, at least there was no one benefit. With the Li Clan's divine ancestor's intelligence, of course, he would not harm Zhou Jie at this time. As Zhou Jie continued to fuse with the universe origin's consciousness, the Li Clan's divine ancestor could clearly feel that Zhou Jie's consciousness was trembling. Sometimes it seemed to be going crazy, and sometimes it was terrifyingly gloomy. Every time this happened, the Li Clan's divine ancestor would be extremely shocked. At the same time, he was prepared to devour Zhou Jie if he failed. However, what surprised the Li Clan's divine ancestor was that although Zhou Jie's consciousness had undergone many drastic changes, he would eventually persevere and return to his normal state. In the end, when Zhou Jie had completely fused with the universe origins consciousness, Zhou Jie's consciousness would fall into an extremely calm state for a period of time. It seemed that, under the erosion of the evil consciousness, he would not move at all. Just like that, several years passed very quickly. The Li clan's divine ancestor was a little scared. He actually began to worry that Zhou Jie would be able to defeat the evil consciousness, truly control the universe origins consciousness, and become the Lord of the universe, the God of eternity. Fortunately, from time to time, Zhou Jie's consciousness would transmit all kinds of emotional fluctuations of pain and destruction, indicating that Zhou Jie was only bitterly holding on. There was no sign of him turning defeat into victory at all. In the blink of an eye, another 40 years had passed. The Li clan's divine ancestor was astonished to the extreme. This was because he really couldn't imagine how Zhou Jie had managed to hold on for so long under the erosion of the evil consciousness. In the end, the Li clan's divine ancestor simply withdrew most of his consciousness and returned to reality. He only left a small part behind to ensure that if Zhou Jie failed, he would be the first to know. The Li clan's divine ancestor stood up from the Star River and thought to himself with his head lowered, "The tenacity of this junior's consciousness is beyond my imagination. However, he also has the support of the universe origins consciousness. The longer he can hold on, the better. If he can hold on for hundreds of years, thousands of years, or even tens of thousands of years, then I must admire this choice of his. Actually, my preparations are almost done. Running away is not a solution. Junior, if you really can't hold on, then you should get rid of it as soon as possible. If this universe is really going to be destroyed, no one can stop it." The Li clan's divine ancestor thought this way. It seemed that in the unseen world, he was also infected by the negative emotions, but he didn't know it at all. In the depths of one of the distant dimensions of the universe, there was a huge space world that had been opened up. A young man in a white robe was sitting cross-legged there, cultivating. Suddenly, he opened his eyes and sighed. As soon as he sighed, his expression suddenly changed, and then his pupils shrank. "What's going on?" The young man in the white robe turned pale with fright. Then, the space he was in exploded with a boom that only he could hear. At the same time, the entire dimension where the young man in the white robe was in was crazily eroded by an evil consciousness. The evil consciousness was so strong that it was countless times stronger than the universe where Zhou Jie was in. On this day, more than 300 years had passed since Zhou Jie merged with the universe origins consciousness. Zhou Jie's consciousness was muddled, and he was on the verge of falling into depravity. There was a possibility that he could lose his mind at any time. But at a certain moment, all the evil consciousness in the universe where Zhou Jie was in seemed to have been sucked out and retreated violently, gathering in the space where the young man in the white robe was in. Zhou Jie's consciousness was instantly awakened. He was a little stunned as he sensed the universe where he was in. He found that he saw everything in it. The Li family's divine ancestor, transcendent Shui Jing, the ancient divine emperor, Suyiyu Zhou Jie even saw the composition of all the lives in this plane universe, the collective name of the central universe and the seven-dimensional universe. From the body to the soul, from the soul to the true spirit, everything was clearly presented in his perception. Moreover, Zhou Jie found that as long as he willed it, he could destroy and reassemble any life in this plane universe, including the Li family's divine ancestor. At this moment, Zhou Jie got rid of the evil consciousness and completely controlled the universe origins consciousness, which meant that he controlled the entire universe. Is this the realm above the Saint realm? Controlling the entire universe? But why did the evil consciousness suddenly retreat? Where did it go? Zhou Jie was puzzled. With a single thought, his consciousness came to the edge of the universe and extended outward. He saw another universe extremely far away. This So there is a place similar to my world outside of the central universe and the dimensional universe. Zhou Jie was a little surprised by what he saw, but he couldn't find where the evil consciousness had gone. He couldn't help but be a little worried. Is it over just like that? What happened? Zhou Jie thought to himself. He was silent for a long time. Finally, Zhou Jie's consciousness returned to his body and directly appeared in front of the Li family's divine ancestor. The moment the Li family's divine ancestor saw Zhou Jie appear, he was a little stunned. He had just noticed that the universe origin's consciousness, or rather Zhou Jie's consciousness, was a little strange. When he checked, he found that his consciousness was completely rejected and could no longer enter the universe origin's consciousness. Just as he was wondering about this, Zhou Jie appeared in front of him. You succeeded? The Li family's divine ancestor couldn't help but ask, but in his heart, he felt that this question was extremely ridiculous. However, what made the Li family's divine ancestor feel even more ridiculous was that Zhou Jie nodded at him and said, Yes, the evil consciousness suddenly retreated for some reason, and I successfully took control of this universe. Zhou Jie's words were very calm, but when they fell into the Li family's divine ancestor's ears, they were no less than a clap of thunder, directly exploding into his mind. Zhou Jie could actually feel all the thoughts of the Li family's divine ancestor. This made him feel that he was invincible after taking control of this universe. After being pleasantly surprised, he planned to do something. Therefore, he ignored the Li family's divine ancestor and left only one sentence. From now on, everything in this universe is under my control. You're on your own. After Zhou Jie left, he appeared in his hometown, the Wanhai Star Field. However, at that moment, everything in the realm, including Zhou Jie, fell into silence. Countless light telekinesis, which was difficult for ordinary people to detect, surged toward the realm where the white-robed young man was. The silence lasted for a while before returning to normal. Zhou Jie was completely unaware of it. Looking at the familiar scene in front of him, he slowly closed his eyes. At the same time, his consciousness began to search for Ling Shui-er's scattered true spirit. After a long time, Zhou Jie opened his eyes and fell into silence. But at that moment, Zhou Jie suddenly sensed something. He turned around abruptly and saw a white-robed young man standing there, smiling at him. Who are you? At that moment, Zhou Jie was shocked like never before. He was now the master of this universe, but he didn't notice the appearance of the white-robed young man in front of him. Moreover, he was standing there, but Zhou Jie couldn't sense him. It was as if he had transcended this universe and wasn't affected by the rules of this universe. Therefore, he was also out of Zhou Jie's control. Don't be nervous, the white-robed young man said with a smile. My name is Jiang Qin, and I'm a newly promoted divine envoy. This time, I'm following the Supreme Kai's order to bestow you with the power of a divine plane and make you a divine plane god. As for what a divine plane god is, you'll know later. Divine plane god? Zhou Jie was surprised and couldn't help but ask, why me? In response, the white-robed young man, Jiang Qin, raised his eyebrows slightly and said, I don't know about this. I'm just following orders. However, since you can become a divine plane god, you must have some outstanding points and have been recognized by the Supreme Kai. Okay, let's begin. After answering Zhou Jie's question, Jiang Qin smiled slightly and then raised his hand and waved. Zhou Jie only felt an irresistible force come and take him to a strange scene world. Everything here was pure white light. There was a young man wearing a white short-sleeved shirt and black trousers standing there, less than 3 meters away from Zhou Jie, looking at Zhou Jie with a faint smile. After Zhou Jie bid farewell to the Supreme Kai's careful protection, he returned to his own universe. Feeling that his telekinesis had become much stronger, he was overjoyed, but when he thought of Ling Shui-er's true spirit, his expression darkened. After becoming a divine plane god, Zhou Jie could naturally resurrect Ling Shui, but her true spirit revolved in the True Spirit River and was randomly scattered by the universe's origin laws, becoming a component of many other life forms' true spirits. If Zhou Jie wanted to resurrect Ling Shui, he would have to erase all these life forms that had a part of her true spirit. 3 days later, on an extremely ordinary life planet, Zhou Jie and Ling Shui wore simple casual clothes and appeared outside an ancient village house. "Big Brother Yun, take a rest. Let me wipe your sweat." In the courtyard of a house at the entrance of the village, a beautiful young woman wearing coarse hemp clothes walked out of the house. Seeing that the man in the courtyard was tired and sweaty, she couldn't help but feel sorry for him. "No need, Qin, there are still a few pieces left. It won't be too late for me to rest after I finish chopping. I'll go sell these firewood later and bring back a roast duck for you. I remember that you used to love it the most. I haven't bought it for you for almost a year." The man wiped the sweat from his forehead and replied, "Big Brother Yun, you're still thinking about it. There's really no need, I don't want to eat it." "Alright, I'll definitely buy it for you this time. It's useless no matter what you say, haha." Big Brother Yun, Zhou Jie, and Su Yu held hands and looked at the beautiful young woman and the man being lovey-dovey. They couldn't help but smile. After a long time, "Let's go back," Zhou Jie suddenly said to Su Yu. Su Yu was clearly stunned. She opened her mouth and said, "But Big Sister Shui." Zhou Jie smiled and shook his head. He didn't say anything. A man and a woman, holding hands, walked in the opposite direction of the ancient village and gradually walked away. You're tuning in to the Phoenix Nights YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.